There you are. Hello, good morning. Happy Friday. Coming to you live from Miami, my little blue zone here at the southern tip of South Beach. Very walkable, very bikeable, good food. I'm going to go out and swim in the ocean right after I get done talking to you. But we're here for a very special reason. I've spent the last 20 years or so exploring the parts of the world where people live the longest and learning their lessons. Excuse me. Longevity expert dies on IG Live. News at 10. Sorry about that. I'm going to bring you the source material today. I'm very excited. I'm going to bring on a centenarian by the name of Dr. Gladys McCary. She's 103 years old. She is an absolute powerhouse to this very day. She was a pioneer in the holistic medicine at a time when women couldn't have bank accounts. She was started this her practice and was introducing America to holistic health. She was one of the first to bring acupuncture to America. I'm a big believer in acupuncture. Do you know the number one source of disability in America? Guess what it is? Go ahead, guess. I'm gonna monitor the feed here for 30 seconds, but take a guess what the number one source of disability in America. We spend more money on this source of disability than anything else. And let me see if anything comes up for. Well, I'll just tell you, it's back pain. And there's some evidence that shows that having preventative acupuncture will actually cure back pain, or at least keep it for, there's somebody guessed it actually. Who guessed it here? I want to say hi to you. Sitting is right. Back pain. Murph. She should be with us in a second. I just accepted her request. There's yeah. I can see your hair, Gladys. It looks like a something delicious. Could you aim your camera down a little bit? Look at that, beautiful. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Okay. I don't want it to look like whipped cream.
There.
All right.
Where are you
From
coming
Scottsdale.
in from?
Scottsdale, where are you? I'm in Scottsdale.
Okay, I'm sorry about
Okay.
that.
I'm in Scottsdale. Where are you?
I'm in Miami, southern tip of Miami.
Wow.
But I think we both love the sunshine.
Absolutely.
And Gladys, can you tell people
My
how
sunshine
old you
is
are?
dry and yours is wet. Right?
I'm sorry. I think there might be a connection speed issue. Can you tell people how old you are?
I'm 102, but I'm almost 103.
And how do you feel today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
And what do you attribute your feeling good at 102 to?
I've got a lot of work to do.
I love that. And it's I know you're out with a brand new book right now. They call you the mother of holistic medicine. You want to tell us about your book?
This book, I've written books, medical books before, uh, like living medicine beyond holistic and that kind of thing. But this book is the essence of what I think healing is about. It's these technologies are all important and very good and all of that. But if they're not done with love, they don't do the same thing. And so I understand that love is the great healer no matter what the technology. And this is the book. Can you see it?
The well-lived life. Yes, I
Well,
can. The
well, I
well-lived,
don't mean my well-lived life. I mean the well-lived life of the person who reads it.
right. The Secrets in Health and Happiness at Every Age is the subtitle.
Right,
And
right.
and what are some of the what are some of the key learnings that you think people miss in general, as they pursue health and longevity? And a lot of people listening here right now, they're listening to us because they're interested in health and longevity. What are the mistakes that people usually make?
It's very easy to get stuck someplace along the line. And if life gets stuck, that that's very hard. It's dark. It's uh, fear steps in, and all the other things step out. It's very important to, I think, in my way of looking at life, to keep reaching reaching towards the light, because if we keep reaching towards the light, we'll see what we need to see. But if we keep looking over our shoulder at what went wrong and what's not good and so on, we'll get a stiff neck, and boy, that makes it awfully hard to work.
And then you need acupuncture.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm I'm gonna ask you to go a little bit deeper on reaching towards the light. It's a beautiful metaphor, but a lot of people, myself included, by the way, I've gone through difficult times, breakups, people die in our lives. I imagine a lot of the people you loved have died. Uh, what does reaching towards the light really mean in
Well,
practical terms?
first of all, just because a person dies doesn't mean I let them go in my life. The memories that I have, those are alive, and I keep them alive. I call it my memory lane. So if I have a night when I can't sleep, I don't worry about not sleeping, because then I never go to sleep. But if I can start down my memory lane, boy, do I have not fun. It's it's a it's a matter of choice. I kind of think of it this way, because it makes sense to me. If God, whatever God is to each one of us, when she created the earth, and it was beautiful and everything was perfect and lovely and all of that, and then God created the human being and said to us, now this earth is perfection. I now give you dominion over this earth. And we, in our arrogance, thought he said dominance. And so we kind of took over, and we've kind of done some pretty nasty things. But what we really said is this earth is the earth to be taken care of, because you're the only beings, living beings on this earth, who have free will and choice. And those two things are really, really important in how we live, how we feel about a life, whether we enjoy it or you know, I've had all kinds of hard things happen to me. I've almost died many times. And I've worked with people who are died. That's all part of life. It's not the part that you want to see coming along, but you have lessons to learn from it. I think everything that we do in life is a lesson.
Good or bad. I think perhaps the tragedies in our lives and the hardships offer better lessons than when things are going just fine.
I don't know if
Well,
that's.
they make us pay attention,
So
Uh,
I
and
love this point.
I have what I call my 5 L's, because I think love is the great healer anyway, and the great thing that keeps us alive. Can I tell my 5 L's?
Please
All
do.
right.
The five
All
L's.
right. The first two have to go together. They can't function without each other. That's life and love. It's like a seed in the pyramid. It has all the energy of the universe in it, but it can't do anything with it until love, in the form of water and air and so on, steps in and makes its shell soft, and then it can begin to do what it wants to do. It's the same as a pregnancy. A whole pregnancy is a time when life and love work together in what I'm calling femifestation within the woman. Everything the woman eats, the baby eats. Everything the woman thinks, the baby thinks. It's an ongoing process. But that baby finds its own entity when it takes its first breath. But so that this integral relationship between life and love is essential for the ongoing of life. The third one is laughter. Laughter without love is cruel, it's mean, it's cold. It causes families to break up, it causes wars and that sort of thing. It's just, but laughter with love is joy and happiness. And the fourth one is labor. Labor without love is drudgery. Oh man, I got to go to work, too
Yes,
many
yes.
diapers, all that kind of stuff. But labor with love is bliss. That's why you do what you're doing. That's why I do what I'm doing. Why a painter paints, why a singer sings. It's that inner essence of us that allows us to really feel that this is life. And the fifth one is listening. Listening without love is empty sound. It's the calling gang. It's just not being heard. So many people right now feel like they're not being heard. It's empty sound. But listening with love is understanding. So these 5 L's have helped me to sort of direct my life energy and what I choose to live for. And when you asked about the light, I think that's our inner essence reaching for our true humanity, like E.T. did, looking for home. But it's that inner longing that we have for our true humanity.
You know, I've spent 20 years of my professional life studying longevity and happiness for National Geographic. I have never
No,
heard it summed up better than what you just said right there.
thank you.
Yes, you've taken 1,000 pages of academic research and distilled it into pure genius. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And by the way, it's people actually understand it. Instead of positive affect or negative affect, the 5L. Say them one more time in a row. And by the way, we have here Gladys McCurry, MD. She's 102 years old. She has a new book out called The Well-Lived Life, 102-Year-Old Doctors, 6 Secrets to Health and Happiness at Every Age. Imagine that, a book out at 102. I hope you guys immediately don't walk, run out and buy this book. I have it here, and it's full of not just academic theoretical wisdom, it's wisdom from a woman who's actually lived it, put it to work, and the result is sitting in front of us right here. Beauty, clarity, love, and wisdom right in front of us. This is what this book can help us do, and I'm thrilled. But one more time, Gladys, the 5 L's.
Just list them. It's life and love, which go together there. It's like the sperm and the ovum, life and love. Then laughter, labor, and listening. Did I get all 5?
You got all 5 and brilliantly articulated. You could see how the first 2 are necessary for the last 3. You know what? You immediately grabbed me on my conversation. You know, okay, this is academic, but people who have a sense of purpose live about 8 years longer than people who don't. And my first question to you about how do you live so long? You said, "Well, I'm too busy," and I'm wondering if that is something that you learned along the way, or you're genetically hardwired to be infused with meaning and infused with this desire to be useful, get things done, contribute to the world.
All of the above, but the one I'll speak to now is my dad. When I was a kid, if I was playing or doing something and I say, "Well, I give up," he would look at me with those dark eyes and he'd say, "Are you a quitter?" And that was as bad as being, "Are you a liar?" So I'd
Wow.
say, "No, no, 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 I'm not a quitter."
Oh, you sure not.
Or here's a good one. Here's a good. I've had such a strange life, but anyway, he would sometimes say, "Or are you the turtle?" And so I'd say, "Oh yes, yes, I'm the turtle." Here's the thing: I was born and raised in India, grew up in the uh, jungles of North India, and my dad uh, hunted for the people in the villages had nobody to protect them from the tigers. I've got a tiger on my wall, and alligators and so on. So they would come to my dad and say, "We've got this animal that's really destroying us. Could you help us?" And there was an alligator in the Ganges, and we were camped not far from we were just on the edge of the Ganges at that time. And so he went to find that alligator. And when he shot the alligator and they opened it up, they found a lot of women's jewelry inside. So they knew it was the right alligator that had been attacking the village. But then there was this turtle, and the shell of the turtle was completely white. So who knows how long that turtle had been in that stomach, but it was just there. So they just put it aside, went on with the work that they were doing. And when they turned around, the turtle had stuck its neck out and was walking away.
Oh my God.
So my dad used to say to me, "Are you a turtle?" And I'd say, "Yes."
So it's a metaphor for resilience.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So what do what do you say to people? And there's a lot of us in the United States who, you know, 70% of Americans do not find meaning and purpose with their work. That's the result of a survey of 2
Drudgery.
million workers. Yeah, they show up to work because they need insurance, or they got to pay, they got to feed their kids, but they don't really find, they're not suffused with excitement and purpose like you are. For people who aren't excited about life, who don't have that love of labor, what advice do you give them?
Start looking for it. Because if you don't look for it, you don't even know that it exists. You know, it's the if you start thinking about what it is that really makes you sing, is there something? Is there something that makes you laugh? Is there something that makes you want to get up in the morning? Is there something who really, or was there something when you were a child? Or maybe you're one person who has dreams that can bring this forth to you, so you can understand it. It's all when you start looking for it. Life doesn't go out, life stays on, but we have to look for it because the darkness will overcome it every time if we don't.
So in the same way that people pursue diets or exercise program, channeling some of that effort and resources into going out and finding what it is that fuels your soul and that you're good at and that you can offer to the world by extension, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes, I've had a lot of patients who eat a diet that somebody told them was the best diet whatsoever. But while they're eating it, they're saying, I don't like this, but it's good for me. That attitude just kind of does weird things to your stomach, you know? Uh, if you're eating something that you don't like or doesn't even make you feel good, uh, what good is that?
Yeah, I
You know,
totally.
and other people who exercise with a specific kind of exercise that they were told was good for them, and they get stuck in that. So we need to see. Here's the thing: my oldest son is a retired orthopedic surgeon. When he came through uh, Phoenix, going down to Del Rio, where he was going to start his practice, he said to me, "Mom, I'm real scared. I'm going to go into the world. I'm going to have people's lives in my hands. I don't know if I can handle that." And I said to him, "Well, Carl, if you think you're the one that does the healing, you have a right to be scared. But if you can understand that it's your job to reach lovingly for the physician within that patient who is your colleague, that's the one who's going to do the real healing. You have to it has to be lovingly enough or understood enough that the essence of that person can understand it and then do it. So our job as physicians isn't just to present the patient with the therapeutic modality and technology, but it's all the essence of what true healing is about, and that's love.
I love that. If I understood you correctly, it's finding that patient finding the physician within the patient and
Right.
partnering with that, not just expecting the doctor. Gladys, I want to just take a break because we're here to talk about your book. Could you hold it up again? It's The Well-Lived Life, a 102-year-old doctor, 6 secrets to health and happiness at every age. How about that? I'd just like to everybody give her a round of applause. A book at 102. And this isn't a bunch of theoretical wisdom. This is wisdom lived. Go run out. As soon as we're done here, go immediately to Amazon, buy this book, give it as a Christmas gift to somebody who you want to live a better life. And a lot of people are asking, how old is Gladys? She's 102 years old. She's
Almost
been
103.
almost 103. We're just going to go to 103. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
When you're this age, you can brag like little kids. I'm 103 now.
By the way, that's about 1 in a million Americans. By the way, it's you're literally a 1 in a million, and people would say that flippantly, but I'm just going to say it statistically. So you brought up diet. A lot of people wonder what we should be eating if we want to make it to 103 and look as good and feel as good and think as clearly as you do. Do you have any advice?
I do. Find what makes you feel good. I have a son who can't eat garlic. If I insisted on him eating garlic, none of us would be happy. It's a matter of what your body tolerates. And I say that's the physician within you. What is it? You uh, the essence of doing that is feeding that person within you, not just satisfying it, but feeding it what it wants to eat. You know, I like fresh salads. I like prunes and what you would call it for raisin bran for breakfast and with milk, lactose milk, because that's what works with my body. but it doesn't work with everybody's body. And so you find out what works. And then I try to eat the salads for lunch and with some protein in it, and dinner some other uh, protein that I like eggs and sometimes chicken, and you know, as fresh as possible. But when you live in Scottsdale, everything isn't fresh, but it's pretty darn good. And there's wonderful, uh, grapefruits and oranges that grow here, and it's it's finding what you can uh, really eat that makes you feel good. And so that instead of sitting at a plate and looking and say, I have to eat this because it's good for me, I've had patients almost kill themselves by eating the food that somebody said was the best food in the world for them. Uh, find out find out what you're supposed to be doing for yourself. And here's another thing. Listen to the little people and the old people that you have in your company. The little kids that come are my great grandkids and great grandkids are just feeding my juice like you'd be surprised. And the older people aren't around, they're on the other side. But I still have my memories. And that's something nobody can take from me. I think we tend to downplay our memories, but they can be just as live as anything.
Gladys, do you have a social life, or do you right now?
Well, I can't see very well, but there's nothing wrong with my insight. So I really, there's no sense in going to movies. And I can have friends come up to me and good friends, and I'll say it, and you are, but they know that's it. So my eyesight is poor, but my insight has gotten better.
You're having some friends over Wednesday.
Yeah, and I'm having some friends over bring Indian food uh, on Wednesday, and I have a very you know actually it takes my breath away. Talking to you is amazing, but I've been talking to people all around the world. I mean, talking to people in uh, Turkey, talking to people in Wales. I thought you want to. You'll be interested in this. I know.
I know
I
I
was
will.
I was doing a lecture. My number four son has the Human Potential Center in Austin, Texas. He's a humanistic psychology person. Anyway, when he was 3, he came into the living room and he says, "Mama, I know something. If I make a friend and he makes a friend and he makes a friend, it's going all around the world and it's coming back to me."
Wow.
Of course he's a psychologist. You know,
At
he
3.
told he told me when he was 3 that he was. But we were doing a series of lectures at his place, and there was a woman from Wales, and my son Bob had introduced himself as coming from a weird family. So when this other woman from Wales introduced herself, she said, "Well, I come from Wales." And she said, introduce, when we introduce ourselves in the morning, we don't say good morning. We say, "How's your weird?"
How's your weird?
How, how's your weird? That's that inner part of you that they say is really in touch with things.
Well,
I
Gladys,
love it.
what is your weird?
Well, it's what makes me do this, which makes me sing, makes me do, well, I can't sing very well, but makes me do the things that I love to do. It makes, I'm talking to you because we're both weird.
I love weird people. I'm weird myself. People call me a dork, and I take that as a
Yes,
compliment. I don't, and I don't mind that. I actually have I have a T-shirt that reads "Normal is boring."
Yes.
How's your weird? I love that. Um,
Yeah.
so how often do people come over and visit you?
Well, since this Zoom stuff has been coming, I have I have to regulate that because I have sometimes three. No, we've cut that down. So it's two of these Zoom or Instagram meetings, and
Per
Each
day.
so yeah, you know,
two a day.
two a day is what we're aiming for.
Do
And
you
my
enjoy these? Do you
oh
enjoy
sure.
these or
Oh,
yeah?
listen, I'm talking to most interesting people like you from all around the world, you know. And my son John, who is a retired Presbyterian minister, is here connecting me so that he can help me with that. I live in the backyard of my daughter, who is a concierge practice physician, and she just loves the work that you're doing with longevity.
Oh,
And so,
that's a compliment.
yeah, it's uh, life just moves all the way around here. I
Well,
never know what's going to
people,
happen.
social media mostly gets a bad rap, and I think it's often misused. But I think what we're doing right now is incredibly powerful for many reasons. First of all, we probably had, I'm sure, 100,000 people over time will see our conversation here. So you have this amazing ability to touch people, but also you and I both have the opportunity to connect socially. I mean, I'm finding this enormously enriching, uh, not just intellectually, but to my soul. I feel a connection with you.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's mutual, but
Oh,
it's
it
wonderful
is.
for
It
me.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
I'm absolutely loving it. And I think so many people read the headlines today, the wars in Ukraine, the wars in the Middle East, and they get upset about it. I went out to dinner with some people the other night that were in tears, and I'm wondering if you have any advice on how to deal with the day-to-day news and not have it. I mean, be empathetic to it and sympathetic, but not have it um, ruin us, not have it send us into an anxiety
Well,
spin.
it's what we choose to listen to. You know, you can listen to all the horrible, terrible, awful, bad things, or you can listen to some news that has some hope in it, or listen to that just is what's happening, and then put it in context with where you are and what you're doing. It's what you choose to digest with your mind, like the food that you digest with your body. Some of it is just not worth paying attention to. There's not a blessed thing that you can do about it. So why take it in? My mother taught my sister and me something which we learned when we were in our 90s. We'd be talking to each other and we'd just take our hand and we'd do this, sweep it down, and we'd go on with something, and then we'd do that again. And we stopped, both of us at the same time, and we said, why do we do that? And we looked at each other and we said, we don't know. And then we said, who did that? And we said, Mama did that. And then we said, why did she do that? And well, it was all Kuchparwani. Oh, it doesn't matter. And we realized that when we were kids, if we would say, come in and I'd be mad at my brother Carl because he said something nasty to me, my mother would say, "Oh, Kuch Parwani," and she'd do that, and then go, "Oh, it doesn't matter." So you either take it when somebody says something, or you hear bad news, or something awful has happened. If you can take it and you take it into your heart and you say, "Oh, that hurts me so bad," it's going to hurt you so bad. But if you can say, well, you can look at it and say, well, I can't do anything about that, and let it go. It doesn't matter.
I
And
love that.
and the and the Hindustani word for that is kuch parwane. I love it.
Kuch
You know, it,
Bawani.
it sounds good. Yeah, kuch parwane. Kuch. That's the thing doesn't matter.
Kuch Bawani.
Yeah.
What? How about picking a partner in life? Do you have any advice on picking the right partner and maintaining that partnership, maintaining a loving
Well,
relationship?
I had a loving, amazing relationship with my husband for 46 years, and then he asked for a divorce.
Whoa.
So, I mean, it just about ended. Actually, what I ultimately found out was that it gave me my freedom. But we started the American Holistic Medical Association. We brought acupuncture into this country. We did had the first acupuncture symposium at Stanford, and did all these things together. I thought life was perfect. I mean, I was really, really happy with it. So when I found out that he wasn't, it was like I had been living in a different universe or something. We had 6 children, and all of them were, doing well and fine. And so it came as it shattered me. It actually shattered me. And I was, at one point, I was driving home from work. Fortunately, my youngest daughter and I had started a practice after Bill left. We started to practice together, so I had work to do. But I was driving home from work and I was screaming at the world. I mean, it was ugly. I was so angry with what the universe had, at that point, I thought, dumped on me, and what how useless, the whole trap you can drag out. And I was driving along, and finally I pulled off to the side of the road and stopped my car. And I said to myself, are you going to continue doing this? Uh, I mean, I didn't like the way I was feeling. And so I stopped, and I was just trying to think of things. And the words came to me, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I thought, that's my name. And so I went home and I changed my license plate from the one that it was to Be Glad. And the rest of the time I drove, when I was in practice here, had that, every time I went to my car, I had to see the Be Glad. But also, anybody in behind me in line in the traffic had to see that too.
And so what? Yeah, I see the sort of general idea, but everybody listening here uh, has things like that happen to them. That
Absolutely.
people, you get dumped by your boyfriend or dumped by your girlfriend, or somebody dies, or you get fired.
Or you have some
Uh,
illness that just
no,
shatters you.
yeah. I just got cancer. I'm not me, but that's in it. So, what is the advice? You just have to change your mind, or is there something more to it? Is there something? What do you do?
You don't get over it, you live through
Uh,
it.
I love that. You live through it.
In the
You live
process of
through
living
it.
through it, you find out what that particular thing is trying to teach you.
Oh my God, this is great. You live through it and you find out what that particular thing is trying to teach you. I think that's the single best piece of wisdom I've ever heard in overcoming hardship.
Well,
Um,
it took me a long time to figure out, but I finally figured out that the divorce, with all of its pain and all of that, gave me my freedom
freedom to do what?
to write my books, to say the things I want to say. and not be contradicted, because before that, I didn't believe my own voice. I wrote books and I believed them, but then I'd question them because I'm dyslexic, and I was so severely dyslexic, I had to repeat first grade twice because I was a class dummy, and my teacher said so, and the kids all said so. So fortunately, when I got into third grade, my teacher saw something in me. I couldn't read or write, but I could talk. And so she made me the class governor.
I love it.
You know, so in my life, I've had people who have, I call them my angels in the flesh. They have kind of rescued me, but it's been because I've been looking for them, you know. Uh, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see them. And they're not going to see you.
What does an angel in the flesh look like for those of us who want to look for our angels? What do you
I can't
look
tell
for?
you. You look like an angel in the flesh
Oh, I'm
because
just giving you a hug here.
yeah,
Tell you can't
because
see it, but I've given you a IG hug.
I too, yeah, because you know, the other day somebody asked me on one of these podcasts or something if there was one very most important time in my life, and I said yes, right now, because what I'm doing right now is amazing. I mean, I could not have begun to imagine that I could talk to you
Mm-hmm.
or the other people that I'm talking to. And people are afraid of this way technology is taking over because,
AI,
yeah, what's,
artificial intelligence.
yeah, artificial intelligence. And they were asking me about that the other day. And I said, well, you know, 10 years ago, I could not have been talking to you like I am now. I think it's going to be what we do with it now. I don't know. I think we can use it to do amazing things if we choose to do amazing things. Or we can, and that will be living through it and understanding it. Well, I can't understand it at this point. I don't even try. But I sure am living through it. And I find the angels in the flesh, like you, like my son, who's here, are, who are here, that we can work together and we care about each other.
I just so love that, and I think so many of us the angel in the flesh shows up, puts him or herself right in our way, and we're too busy, and I think we miss them all often. And to your point, I think they're often the little people and the older people too. I think older people in America are too often invisible,
We
and
medicated them into foolishness.
that is horribly hilarious.
Yeah.
Medicated them into food. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that, but you're absolutely right. It's one of the things in these blue zones that I noticed in America here, you look at any magazine or watch TV, and it's the young people we celebrate. It's the youthfulness and anti-aging where we spend our money. But you go to blue zones, Sardinia, Italy, where you find the most male centenarians, or Okinawa, Japan, where you find the most female centenarians. The older you get, the more celebrated you are.
Yeah.
In Okinawa, the biggest birthday of your life is your 96th birthday. I know that was a long time ago for you, but for most of us, it's looming in the distant future. And I just think that this insight of I think you're more likely to find an angel in the flesh with somebody older than you, somebody who's accumulated the wisdom, gotten some resilience, learned, lived through the difficulty and learned from it, not just let it crater them, that they're in a better position to be the people who help us through some more situations like you're doing to people, right? For people, right? You probably can't see it, but I am watching a continuous stream of people commenting on they're working right now. They stopped in their track. This has changed their life. This is such great, important
Well,
wisdom.
let me tell you
So,
a story. This I think fits right in here. I have a wonderful friend who's been a friend for a long time. He's a neurologist here in town and he's still practicing. And I was talking to him the other day, and he said that uh, he had just come from a meeting with a patient, but he said and he's working at the medical school, so he's teaching also. So he had an appointment with a resident who was going in to see a patient. And so he went to the door, and the resident was standing at the door. And he said to her, "Let's go in." And she said, "Oh, we don't need to." And he said, "What?" She said, "We don't need to. He has Alzheimer's." And my wonderful neurologist said to her, "You don't understand. There are two people in that room. One is his wife and one is him. His wife loves him. She will be able to understand what it is that we're saying in a way that she can translate it to her husband and let him understand it in any way that he can and benefit from it. So, and besides that, we have to touch them." So I'm concerned about how our technology can be misused in not understanding the patient's physician within them so that we can make the contact with them through whatever means is available to us. And sometimes it's just a touch. Sometimes the the patients are in, you know, but we have to be looking for how, and if we care about them, we'll find ways, because that's our challenge, is to find ways that we can reach out to them. Now, right now, I can't read, so I'm listening to audiobooks.
and do you have people you support in your life? I imagine you're supporting your children still,
Oh,
and
I sure, I'm really working the Village for Living Medicine. My foundation is the Living Medicine Foundation, uh, and we're working towards a village for living medicine, and I think that's what you've done around the world. And it's the ability to capture what is available in different places where people are thinking or trying to think in ways that change things enough so that they can create. It may just be in their own backyard kind of thing. We lived on Lafayette Boulevard in Phoenix when my kids were growing up. And as I look back, that became a village for living medicine. I didn't know it at the time, but I had my six kids, and the neighbors had six kids. And those, one time I looked from my bedroom down the hall and I counted nine heads, and none of them, one of them was my kid. It was that kind of a moving community that still, uh, I mean, the house is still there. The people are still living there, and people that are running through that house still comment on it.
what advice can you give us for creating this living um, community?
find out what it is in your community that you can connect with and live with the people around you. You know, maybe it's a garden, maybe it's I don't know what, uh, a zoo. maybe it's just having here in my on Lafayette, when my son, who's an orthopedic surgeon, retired, um, got to be 16. He told my husband that he wanted, for a birthday present, he wanted a beat up old truck so that he could rebuild it. And so my he and my dad, my husband went out, and they bought up this beat up old truck, and he and his buddies, who were teenage boys, took that truck apart piece by piece and put a Cadillac engine in it and a Buick something else, and rebuilt the whole thing. And it took them 2 summers to do that. And when they had finally finished it, and they came to the front door in my car, and they said, "Well, we're ready to take it around the block." I mean, they worked for 2 years on this thing. And what a mess! You didn't have no grease that we had. Well, anyway, they took it, and Carl said, we'll be right back. And they were gone for 2 hours. And I thought, oh man, it's broken down someplace. What's happened? He comes back. They put the wheels on backwards, so they couldn't turn left. I mean,
What a great
see,
story.
you learn from doing. And so,
Gladys,
yeah.
what are you looking forward to? You said you're busy right now. What are you looking forward to, and what are you
Well,
working on?
I'm doing these podcasts and things right now, but I'm really, with the Village for Living Medicine is the thing I'm really looking for, working with people who are, um, around the world. Where there's a person that we're talking to in Zanzibar, and she understands what we're talking about. There's one in Canada who understands what we're talking about. It's sort of there, and I think you probably know people who understand what we're talking about. These are places where love and laughter and just supporting each other in a way is the community affair. And I can't tell uh, uh, another person how that's going to be, because we have to find it ourselves. And that's
How can we
what's so exciting.
how can we get involved or support this idea of
Well, you're doing it right now.
Village for the just
You know, the
and
Village
it
for
was so
Living.
easy.
Yeah. There are people who have already done it, but when we start talking about it, and you begin to see how it would work in your community, or maybe it will be this artificial intelligence that will tell us how to do it. I don't know, but energy is always moving, and if it's moving towards our true humanity, which is, I truly believe that's what you and I are working towards, and the people that I talk to are working towards. We're reaching for that essence of our true humanity that is going to really help put us in the places that we want to be.
I can't imagine it being put any better than that. Gladys, we're rounding the hour here. I want to respect your time. And by the way, can we do this again?
Oh, how lovely.
I would love to do this again. This has been one of the most enriching hours I've had in years,
Oh,
or maybe ever. You absolutely radiate love, and you radiate wisdom, and you're I can just tell by watching the comments here, hearts and thank you. This is the best hour I've spent. Started following you. Um, People following here. Gladys's book. Her name is Gladys McCary, MD, a holistic physician, mother of holistic medicine. Her book is called The Well-Lived Life, 102-year-old doctor's secrets to health and happiness at every age. Of course, she's 103. We'll be celebrating your birthday on November 30th, but we'll call you 103 right now. I felt an instant love and connection with you. I'm sure a lot of us did. And tell us the best way to follow you.
Her Instagram is BeGladMD, and her website, is GladysMcGarry.com.
That's right.
GladysMcGarry.com, and I'll spell that for people. And I'll do a post later, but I'll include that. But it's GladysMcGarrey.com, GladysMcGarry.com. And of course, her Instagram is what we're on right now. And maybe your son could poke his head in for just a second so we can say hi to him.
This is my son, John. He's a
Hi. Hi, John. Thank you for connecting us.
he's a retired Presbyterian minister.
Well, he's a wonderful man, and congratulations for having 6 wonderful children, and we love you. And
Thank you.
And what I usually say to people, we'll see you when you're 100, but that is going backwards for you. So we'll talk to you soon, and thank you for your wisdom and love.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Gladys.